you tell this is like my whatever take with a really bad phone. Anyway. Hey everybody, what's up? This is Retrokid Reviews. 3 for 3 on appearances as far as in-person camera goes. Unfortunately, this is supposed to be my figure form day for Supergirl. Mainly, the real reason why I'm not doing a figure form thing is not because I'm running out of ideas. I actually had a really good idea here. It's just, my phone didn't want to save it. So, here we are. So, we're just going to do a bare bones, not really moist critical, over the shoulder, kind of like explaining everything kind of video. So, IMDb, as always, is on standby. So, here we go. For Greg Gillespie, not James Gunn, that is usually, what we all thought was going to be directing this movie as well. He's doing okay with given with material. That's going to be the whole theme of this review. It is a little disappointing, but in like the pantheon of like Supergirl adaptations go, it's not Sasha Khalil, I guess messy when that movie was out with The Flash a couple of years ago. Got my review for that. And that being said, hey everybody, this is Retrokid Reviews. Forgot to do a really long cold open because, yeah, it's that kind of a busy weeks here, in case you could tell. So, with that said, what is my overall thoughts with Millie Alcock now finally being this version of Kara? It's okay. Like, you could definitely tell it's a work in progress, kind of like finding yourself in your 20s while also being the last living, second to last living Kryptonian after the destruction of Argo City and everything. What I would like to focus really quick on is mostly the Kind of Funny review for the whole thing. I think Greg Miller and Nick Scarpino of Kind of Funny fame did actually read the comic Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow that this was mostly based on. And what I've noticed is that there is some loose adaptations of stuff over the years, even the DCEU years. Yeah, I go to every time I was Jason for that. But to make a long story short, it's not the loosest it's been. I know I missed the Nightfall news earlier this week. Go to the trailers for that, I guess, if we got time. Yeah, there's a bit of a difference with that kind of style of adaptation versus the movies, and I feel like again this is sadly a byproduct of that kind of storytelling genre. However, the plot, is close enough to the original story. Just basically, Supergirl going on a bender throughout the cosmos. Just if you guys saw Corn Sweat's Superman movie last year, go to my review for that. Yeah, it's mostly red sun planets just so she could party and try to figure her stuff out after being known to be the second to last, like I said earlier, survivor of Krypton. And yeah, for Mathis Schmalzer, if I got his name right, for Krem, the mostly villain in this movie, he's okay. I think Nando V Movies basically said it on his non-spoilers cut. I think the spoiler cut as well. Of basically yeah, he should have just been the art style they had in the comic, and for unforgettable yet forgettable villains in the comics, it's good enough for a representation. It's just very Mad Maxy with the armor and stuff like that, which despite a lot of the early criticisms of this being Guardians Light, it is to an extent. Most of the music is covers, which makes no sense because if you're trying to be Guardians in any way, shape, or form, at least do the actual needle drops for the old folks and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's another one of the main other marketing things. I'm not going to get to the Jesse Waters bullshit of it because like I would normally say if I was Jason in this review, Fox News is not really news. Go outside, go make friends in your 30s, idiots. Anyway, that being said, I don't know, it's an okay start for this version of Supergirl's journey through the DCU. Also, for anyone who thought this was going to be more crypto stuff last year's Superman movie, nope, just bookend. Big spoilers ahead. He's kind of the plot device essentially to keep Kara motivated to go on to Ruthie's journey, played by, in Ruthie's case, Eve Riley. She's a very early in her career kind of child actor, and despite the limited action scenes she's gotten, you could definitely tell she's going to have a good career ahead of her, so I got nothing against the kid acting here, as always. I'm a huge defender for the last couple of years, mainly because it's not their fault, it's mostly production, it's mostly a bunch of other things, and I think that's also the very same thing I'm going to probably have to explain for this movie, is that it's more production that kind of put a hindrance into this plot, not Millie, not even Greg Gillespie. I haven't seen most of his career and work, so let me just get a quick read on his filmography since I got time for the IMDb. Yeah, actually, okay, he did The Finest Hours, I, Tanya, Lars and the Real Girl. I highly recommend if you're going to be seeing some indie stuff. after this movie, and the remake of Fright Night, which actually I've been meaning to try to do as like a bar for bar Halloween review for the Anton Yellish of it all with that remake. So yeah, okay, so he has an okay pedigree. I just wished it was more enough to handle a superhero franchise movie like this. And for those who also don't know, most of like the 2000s and 90s era of like superhero directors like the Sam Raimis of it all did start in horror. Speaking of WB projects, I've also forgot to mention here, I'm very much aware of Evil Dead Burn. I've seen most of the trailer and marketing for it. It's not bad. I'm also aware, I forgot the title for their next Evil Dead project is going to be a true prequel leading up to the Sam Raimi timeline when it comes to like the Bruce Campbell of it all for the 70s original movie. So I might talk about that, like I said, for Halloween content aside. So ultimately, my overall thoughts with and final scores for Supergirl is that it's okay. But the only like strong things I can say is it's better than the sum of its parts. It's not like the history of DCEU bad, so that's at least the good news there. It's pales in comparison compared to like the Helen Slater 84 movie, which I thought, again, if I had time to do figure form content, I was going to do a Die Hard joke because Ellis from that movie was also in the Helen Slater movie. I honestly God thought if it was going to be like at least Wonder Woman level like 84 bad, that Helen Slater herself will come around for a cameo as a big gotcha back at like DC's original creative team for the Flash. So that didn't happen. So at least we're not in that kind of like territory of like we have to like do like mandatory cameos kind of stuff aside from Corn Sweat. So on to the Lobo of it all before I get to closing out here. It's fine. You could definitely tell this was fan casting 10 years overdue for Momoa. The only problem is, again, I highly recommend going to the interview for Kind of Funny when they were talking about this. It was a mix of accents. It's like, I guess to put it in Star Wars case, like space British, but not really committed to like a space British kind of thing. So that's kind of where we're at. I wish he was more heavily motivated into the final act because it just felt like he's just there for the slag of it. So yeah, DCAU animated references aside, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's not as disappointing as I think it was going to be, which is the good news. If you really had to slog it out just for homework or whatever, if she ever comes into Superman sequel later next year, it's the runtime is like an hour and 55, I remember correctly, hopefully. Where will this be box office wise? Anybody's guess. And that's kind of the overall thing. I wish this wasn't a mixed bag. So before my phone wants to clock out, yeah, go to I really tried to do a justifiably angry car over here in the end cards, which might be the things I missed section. So we're going to hopefully try to salvage that at the very least for this review. Yeah, I wished I had time to do Kryptonian or I guess Argo City colors. Here, to sub the channel, hit the notification bell down below. High point this video if you are a mobile subscriber. And yeah, go to Jason over here to my previous video, which was obviously talking about the X-Shot long shot, or the 2.0, not 2.1. I'm very sorry for anyone who had to sit through the actual review. Just found out in the edit, so wish I had time to do it like an autocorrect, but what are we gonna do? So with that all being said, take care, subscribe to this Retrokid review. Saying, so is she gonna be like crazy, like sober, or like cold turkeying, going back into Metropolis for the sequels, or what? Like, also, nothing against James Gunn. It's a miss, but not a total miss, because again, it could have been that weird 84 movie. What was with the witches? Seriously, who was in charge of that back then? And the Alice of it all? I know I should have done a retro review, but like, I might. DC, I might.